Hello and welcome to It's Fate. I'm Morgan Barker and I have a special guest today. Care to introduce yourself?
My name is Michael Barker.
And sorry to all the single ladies out there, he's taken.
I am very much taken, yes.
By me.
Correct.
This is my husband and he is coming on to chat a little bit about ACOTAR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is your world right now.
I know. And I'm just trying to rope you in. So before we get to our Pequot of this episode, I think maybe, the world out there should know a little bit about you.
Okay.
So who are you other than my spouse?
Yes, I'm your spouse. I am also a father.
Yes.
Of our wonderful boy, Malachi.
Our 2-year-old.
Who just turned 2 in May. And I am a huge nerd, as you know.
Yes, I do know.
Of all things.
Yes.
All things, which I'm sure we'll get into. I love music.
Mm-hmm.
I love sports.
Mm-hmm.
I love being outdoors. And I love Jesus. It's basically me in a nutshell.
Love it. Look at that. They say on TikTok that, behind every reading wife is a gaming husband and vice versa.
It's the perfect match, honestly.
It really is nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Some nights when we're like, we want to do our own thing, but we want to hang out together, we just do that in your office. I'll sit in the chair.
Can you imagine a world where they make an ACOTAR video game?
I can't imagine that world, actually. And I hope it happens someday.
Or we'll be playing the game at the same time.
I don't know how I would actually read and play at the same time. Maybe I could listen to the audiobook and play it at the same time. My eyes would have to go to one place. But yeah, the more I think about it, as much as I will be happy if there's any ACOTAR TV show, but I feel like an Avatar style, like Avatar The Last Airbender style animation.
An anime?
Would be, yeah. But like that specific style of anime would be super cool.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting.
But It wouldn't be for kids.
Absolutely not.
No. And a lot of anime is not, so.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing a little bit about you.
Yeah, I don't think I missed anything.
I don't think so either. You do have a job.
It's
in
work.
tech.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a working man.
I don't know why. I feel like I'm more nervous to podcast with you than Katie.
It's because of my good looks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm like sweating over here trying to impress you. Okay. Well, every episode we have something called a Pequot, personal question of the episode.
Okay.
I think Katie feels the same way about the acronym as your face just told me you do.
Not a fan, but that's okay.
It reminds me of kumquats, the fruit.
Yes.
So you like to read. It's not a passion of yours, but you have read a lot over your lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your favorite book of all time?
Like, of all books or like fantasy?
Let's go fantasy.
Okay, I would say my favorite fantasy novel of all time is The Lord of the Rings, which I'm sure you knew.
I did know that. Tell me why.
There are so many reasons. I think it's they're timeless novels.
Mm-hmm.
The whole world, I think Tolkien was incredibly gifted in his... So fun fact about him, he studied linguistics and was insanely intelligent and quite literally created his own languages within the books.
So cool.
All of his writing was incredibly thoughtful, thought-provoking. There was a lot of religious aspects to it as well that I love. The battle between, good and evil, light and dark, etc., etc. I think it is a novel that everyone can relate to and can find meaning in. That life is hard and it sucks if you do it alone. However, community is incredibly important, and that's basically what the book is about. It's like getting through life with other people.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Wow, that was so powerful. I'm moved. I love that. Okay. So you shared about Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And you also like movies.
Mm-hmm.
You like video games. You've played Lord of the Rings video games. You've watched the movies.
Yes.
But
many times.
Do you have, out of all of those things, all the media you've consumed, do you have a favorite fantasy world that you would want to be a part of, that you would want to live in?
Favorite fantasy world? There are so many.
I know.
That I can think of. That is an incredibly difficult question to answer.
Yeah, would you want... I mean...
I wouldn't... I love Lord of the Rings.
Uh-huh.
I would not want to be in that world.
No, and here's the thing. A lot of fantasy worlds, I'm actually like, I'd probably die.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
I think out of all of the fantasy universes out there, I would probably choose Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, because the idea of intergalactic travel, and I would be a Jedi, of course.
Obviously.
And just the technology and the space exploration alone sounds so enticing.
Yeah.
To like have my own starship and just to travel the galaxy, like even just traveling our Earth is awesome, but you have galaxies to look at. I mean, there's multiple planets, and I mean thousands and thousands and quite literally endless amounts of planets you can visit. I think it would be a really fun universe to be in. I feel like it balances perfectly the fun and terror at the same time, because there's a lot of stuff that happens within that universe.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be really fun. I think it's you can live a quiet, simple life, but still have really cool powers and abilities and make a difference.
I like that. I like that a lot.
It's just what comes to mind right now. I mean, there's a lot of other video game universes I could be a part of that come to mind, but overall, I think it would be really fun to live in Star Wars.
Yeah. Dana asked this question to Katie and I, or Katie asked this question. I can't remember. It was on an episode of All Three of Us. And I honestly don't remember what I said. But as you're talking, I'm thinking I would want to be a firebender in the world of Avatar.
Avatar would also be awesome.
Be really cool.
100%.
But there's definitely not as much, at least what that we know of, world to explore as Star Wars.
Right.
But it just feels the safest to me.
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
So that's where my mind goes. Okay, now let's talk about some favorite tropes. Do you know what a trope is? To be honest, I don't even know what the true definition is, but it's like a theme of a book.
Okay.
Like the trend of the book.
Okay.
So really popular ones are in the romance world are like enemies to lovers.
That's what I've heard that word mostly is with romance novels.
Yes, yeah. Friends to lovers. There's another common trope is like the chosen one, which would be Harry Potter or even Lord of the Rings. Right. You know, there's like that one savior. There's pregnancy tropes. There's divorce. Okay. There's a lot. I could read more because I'm curious if there's any that you really like. Have you ever what in movies? So think about movies. Do you like enemies to lovers or friends to lovers more?
Friends to lovers.
Really? I feel like this is like a hot topic on Book Talk. Obviously, people can love both, but it's like which one is better?
I think I have yet to meet somebody in real life that they were enemies with somebody that absolutely hated their guts. But then we fell in love. I've never heard that.
No, I think that's
and maybe somebody in the comment section can prove me
Let
wrong.
us know.
But I've heard a lot of, like we were just friends at first. I didn't find them attractive or blah 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 blah. And then like I don't know, something happened and then we just fell in love.
Yeah.
So like that, it feels more realistic to me.
Yeah.
The enemies to lovers, it only works for me where it's more of a like a bickering relationship. Like they're just kind of like a little bit like you already know there's tension between them. And then you're like, oh, this is going to be something, instead of it being like, oh, they're sworn enemies and then all of a sudden like now they're lovers, is just wild to me.
Well, there's more to it than that.
Well, it's a slow burn. Or slow
Not
build,
always.
whatever. But
slow burn was a good term.
Yeah.
Good book term. So the reason I prefer enemies to lovers is because it's not real. Like it's so not real life. And I think that's why I like it.
Right.
I'm like, this is just so exciting.
Right, yeah.
So anyway.
So my favorite trope.
Yeah, but I honestly can't really think of any more to list for you right now.
I think my favorite like trope or theme with books is the battle between, good and evil.
Yeah.
Just which is why I love
like
fantasy.
A dark side and yeah,
like light and
sane.
dark. There's always, and how light always triumphs.
Yeah.
The darkness.
I also like a chosen one trope as well.
So I think it just relates a lot to life. I mean, in the world that we live in, there's so much evil, and horrible things that can happen, but there's a lot of good, and a lot of good things can come from bad things. So just a theme that I like a lot.
Me too. I'm not a big fan of the pregnancy trope, like people being together because they get pregnant. It's just not my vibe. Good for them, but not my vibe. Yeah. Other than that, I can't really think of any. I'll let you know next time I read them. I really will. I'll tell you from the other room.
Okay.
Or from across the room.
Okay.
Let's get into some ACOTAR stuff.
Let's do it.
What do you know about ACOTAR? Just name some things.
Smut.
Well, it's not. Everyone's really dramatic about it. It's really not.
Okay, I know ACOTAR. Let's see. I know that there's a bunch of fairies, but not in the way that you think it is.
Yeah, it's not like Tinkerbell.
It's not Tinkerbell. No. Tinkerbell would last like 0.5 seconds in that universe.
Well, you know what? In the last book that's been released, Cassian, who you know who that is, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. He mentions that he bought a present for Nesta that he ends up throwing into the river because she's being a poop face, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
And later he's like, it's the world's smallest book that was made by the tiniest existing fairies. So I think there are small ones. They're just not considered high fae. And they're not like a real part of the story.
Plot twist within this multiverse that she's created. Theoretically, it could be Tinkerbell.
It literally, yeah, Tinkerbell. Who knows? I mean, the first book is kind of Beauty and the Beast-esque.
I mean,
maybe the next one's going to be Peter Pan.
Disney's buying everything left and right. Maybe they acquire the rights.
Before we know
Plot twist, it's Tinkerbell.
Well, and in another series by her, Crescent City, there are sprites that I picture being similar to Tinkerbell. Even in their sassiness, they're pretty intense.
Totally random. You know how I remember who Cassian is?
How do you remember?
I think of him as the wingspan man.
You know, they say Azrael has the largest wingspan, and we haven't gotten his book yet.
Well, so technically Cassian is the wingspan man right now.
I guess so.
Because we have no proof.
We have no proof. No, who is it? No, Cassian or Reese says it.
Oh.
I think it's Reese. Reese says that Azrael has the largest wingspan.
Okay.
So, we just haven't seen it in action. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, keep me posted.
I know you're dying to know. Okay, what else do you know? So you know some names, obviously.
Yes.
You know some characters.
Yes. So, I feel like I know like all the major plot points.
I think so too.
Yeah. You quite literally walked. I think it took
4 hours.
and a half, maybe 5 hours total.
Yeah, we were on a road
trip, and you explained
the first 3 books
only.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hooked.
In mass detail.
Hooked. Yeah. That's crazy.
You tried to read the first book.
Yeah, I could not do it.
But I knew, I was like, if you got into it, if you like got through the first book, you would have been hooked.
Yeah.
And I know if it's a show, you'll be hooked, movies, whatever. Yeah. It's just not really what you wanted to do with your free time, which I respect.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's nothing against, the fan base or her as an author.
Mm-hmm.
It just for me, if my, within the first couple of chapters, if it has not captured my attention, I'm done. And so,
do you have ADHD?
Probably. But it's the same with movies. Like, I'll give a movie a 20-minute test, and if I don't like it, I'm gonna turn it off.
2 chapters.
I have ADHD. It's just like,
okay.
I don't like this.
But 2 chapters in a book is not equivalent to 20 minutes in a movie.
No. Okay, well, even if I give
10
the book
chapters.
Yeah, but even if I give the book, I mean, I read quite a bit, and I just didn't like the pacing, and I was like, well, it gets better, and it's like, okay, it clearly did get better because for what you explained,
mm-hmm.
It was great and it was very interesting. I'm also just not huge. I'm not into like romance novels.
Yeah.
Love fantasy.
Yeah.
Love it. I will eat it up all the time. Yeah, like romance stuff is just it's not something I'm like super into. It's not so much like I want to read a book because of the fantasy, not because of the romance.
I get it.
And ACOTAR balances the line on both.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's
because
called a romantasy.
Romantasy. Because it's a romantasy, it was really hard for me to read because like I just want the fantasy stuff.
Yeah,
like all the lore. I want
mm-hmm.
the character development, the world building, all that stuff. Like give it to me.
I get it.
Like if she came out with a book about the Surreal.
Yeah.
And
I
all
love
the
that you
crazy
knew,
stuff.
I love that you knew what the Surreal is.
All the crazy stuff. He, she, them, it. I don't know the correct pronouns. Like their origin or I would read it 100%.
Yeah.
Because it's not a romance. It's just like, here's the world. Here's how it became.
Yeah.
It,
I think I know what it is. Yeah. I think it's a character from Throne of Glass, which I still really want you to read, and I think you could get into that one a lot quicker.
I do want to read Throne of Glass because that is more fantasy than
it is
romance. I mean, there's romance in the novels, but again, it's first fantasy.
I would say it's first fantasy.
Yeah.
The first book feels pretty YA.
Well, it was one of her first books that she wrote, right? When she was very young.
She started the concept of the series when she was a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
And look at her
That's
now.
So wild. I know. Good for her.
In her 30s, I think. And I'm like, well, I've written 0 books. I have 0 prospects, 0 monies.
It's okay.
But I got you, babe.
Yeah,
I got you, babe. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you know a lot of the main characters. You know a lot of the main plot points in the first 3 books.
Yes.
Let me give you just a quick synopsis of A Court of Silver Flames, which is the book that's about Nesta and Cassian.
Okay.
We just finished covering it on the podcast. Essentially, after the war, because I know I told you that their dad dies.
Yes.
And Nesta really blames herself.
Yes.
And she was already like just not a great person. And then she just got worse and worse and worse and was just drinking her life away and looking for solace. Thank you. Looking for solace in males and just like not eating, like very clearly depressed. And finally her family, this has been, I want to say this is like a year after the war. Finally they're all like, we're either dumping you in the human lands or you need to go train with Cassian every day, live in the House of Wind, which is like that house in the mountain,
right? And
work in the library where it's like a sanctuary for the priestesses,
right?
And so she's kind of forced into that, which ends up leading to a lot of her healing and her growth. Her and Cassian fall in love. She makes 2 really good friends, and they start something called the Valkyrie Squad Reborn, which I know that the term Valkyrie, I believe, is used in other fantasy worlds, but I'm not 100% sure. It is?
Yes.
Oh, you know something. Share.
I was just going to bring up when you were training to be a Valkyrie.
I know. And then it just got too hard.
And then life happened.
It didn't get too hard physically. It just got too hard in life to add one more thing to my plate. Maybe someday I'll go back. Valkyrie squad galleys.
Yeah, but Valkyries are actually they originated from like Nordic.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, like mythology and all that stuff. So
okay. So anyway, there was a species, or not a species, because they were just a group of fae from all different kinds of races and species and stuff, and they went extinct, but they're just a type of warrior. And so Nesta and her friends decided that they were going to be Valkyries reborn. So they trained in Valkyrie techniques and that, as well as Illyrian, which is what Cassian and Azrael are. And Rhys is half Illyrian. And then they end up being kidnapped and having to go through this thing called the Blood Rite.
Yeah, you told me this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they come out on top. And meanwhile, the reason they got kidnapped and put in the Blood Rite is because remember the human queens?
Yes.
And then one went into the cauldron because she wanted youth, but she came out a crone.
Yes.
Immortal, but a crone.
Yes.
So she blamed Nesta for that. So this was all her orchestrating this.
Love that for her.
I know. And then Nesta literally uses her power to turn her to ash.
Good for her.
Like, it's not like she just was incinerated. It's like she slowly went backwards from being old all the way to young, all the way until she returned to dust. Benjamin Button style.
Power is like she took.
I don't fully know.
Death, right?
Yeah, something like that. That she apparently bit out of the cauldron. Meanwhile,
crazy.
Farrah's pregnant with an Illyrian baby who has wings, but her pelvis is not.
I'm not getting into this. It doesn't make any sense.
It's yes.
Literally doesn't make any sense.
No, I know we've talked a little bit about this. Nesta sacrifices her powers to save Nesta and the baby, and everything's fine, and they live happily ever after. And her and Cassian are mates, and their sister friendship is kind of rekindling. That's Silver Flames in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you know all of that,
okay,
who's your favorite character?
Oh my gosh, I can't pick my favorite character. I mean, I haven't even read the books, but from what you've told me and all the things that happen, I mean, I have to go with Rhys.
I had a feeling because you're seeing the books from my perspective, so I feel like you would like Rhys and Farrah.
Yeah, even their love story, the relationship, the whole concept of your mate and all these things, and yeah, I think he's extremely badass and a gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
What more would you want in life?
And I hear he has a nice wingspan.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay.
Elaine. Her fate.
Sweet Elaine.
Sweet Elaine, who can apparently do no wrong, which also is like kind of annoying.
No.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really weird.
So her fate in terms of love is still up in the air. She rolls out of the cauldron and Lucian is like, "You're my mate." And she's like, "I'm terrified of you now."
Yeah.
And there's obviously feelings between her and Azrael. And everyone's wondering. Yes, there's like some flirtiness. There's a bonus chapter in one of the books, I can't remember, where basically Azrael and Elaine almost kiss, and then Rhys is like, "Do not get involved with her. Like, don't mess with somebody who has not rejected her mating bond yet, because that just Fae are very territorial, and he's trying to protect Azrael."
So she hasn't rejected the bond. She was just like.
She just is like so
okay,
standoffish and rude to him, but has not addressed it at all from what we know.
Okay.
So there's Team Lucian and there's Team Azrael. Which one are you?
I cannot answer that question.
Just pick. You can do it.
I don't know enough about Azrael.
That's my thing. And I honestly feel like I still don't know enough about Lucian. But
because Lucian
I just want Elaine to be happy. He's from the Autumn Court. He was Tamlin's bestie.
Correct.
And you know what? He made some poor choices too, but there's a lot of speculation of if he was kind of like manipulated and potentially abused by Tamlin as well. So
potentially, I think I do from the little that I did read and heard about and all that stuff, I'd probably pick Lucian. Again, I don't know too much about Azriel. I know that Lucian, like right off the bat, when Farah, was taken and she's at, his, I don't know what you call it, giant estate
mansion.
He was still helping her even before they developed trust. Like he was not.
He also tried to kill her a few times.
Yes.
In like a funny, joking Big Brother way.
Yeah. Like it was always like he knew he was going to protect her. And there was always that sort of like, they felt like siblings.
Yeah, I always really liked Lucian as well. But
again, I don't know that much about Azriel.
I know.
Except that, is Azriel the one that had like his wings are, like permanently damaged or something?
No. That's a female.
Oh, okay.
That's Nesta's friend, Emery. No, Azriel is... We honestly don't know that much about him. He's something called a shadow singer. I always thought it was shadow slinger.
I know, you told me this.
Yes. And he's the spy master.
Yes.
So, he's very mysterious still.
Okay.
So, we'll see. Okay. We're going to play a game.
Let's do it.
Called Hot or Not.
Okay.
Where I tell you things that have actually happened in the book.
Okay.
But out of context.
Okay.
And you'll just let me know if it's hot or not.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Having a woman offer you food as a sign that she accepts you as her lover.
Hot. I mean, you're getting food and some other stuff.
There you go.
It's a win-win.
Well, that's the ritual to accept somebody as their mate.
Well, I know what that's from.
Oh.
It's the cabin scene.
Oh my gosh. You have such a good memory. Wow.
It's the iconic cabin scene. Everyone knows it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm proud of you. Secret romances. Like you being in a romance with somebody and keeping it from your friends and having to be covert.
No.
Not hot?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I think that's hot.
I like it.
I like it. Getting turned on when you see the face of your future child.
Can you repeat that question?
Getting turned on when you see the face of your future child.
Absolutely not.
I would agree. Yet, in the story...
You have to explain that to me. That's incredibly troubling. It makes me not want to read any of her books ever again.
I simplified it. It comes off as oddly romantic. Basically, there's this character called the Bone Carver who appears to himself as Rhys and Farah's future child to Farah, but not to Rhys. And Farah sends that image to Rhys through their bond, and Rhys like gets turned on, but it's more at the idea of like he's like wants to start a family with his mate. But
gotcha.
Yeah, I just twisted a little bit.
Twisted it a lot. You did. Yeah.
Okay. Giving a woman a gift you initially bought for another woman.
That is absurd.
Azriel
Absolutely
does that.
not. No.
Yeah, I know.
Losing
Not good.
points.
Growling and roaring during the deed.
Snarling.
Snarling, growling, roaring, purring. You name the animal.
What's the other one? Barking.
Barking. Yes. You have a really good memory.
Absolutely not.
No, I agree. Okay,
We've
good.
literally talked about this.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Like,
just all of a sudden, like, roar.
I just want to know the snarling.
Do it. What do you think the snarling sounds like?
I'm not even going to try.
Podcast before.
No, I'm not going to do it.
I picture our dog, Minnie.
Or barking.
Where she's like,
I literally think about our dogs barking.
Yeah, woof woof. You do it. Why am I having to do all the sound effects?
It only makes sense that they're like in animal form doing it.
Yeah, I think it's trying to show that they're like they are humanoid, but there's like an animalistic aspect.
But if this
them.
ever comes to television, I will be
It probably
laughing
won't
so
happen.
hard.
They won't do it.
So hard.
It'll be like, I don't know.
If it doesn't happen, I'll be like, this isn't accurate.
Where's the bark? Okay, protecting someone who doesn't want to be protected because you care for them.
Hot.
I agree. Cassian does this for Nesta.
Yeah.
Being able to smell when someone is turned on. You can't just isolate this to the person that you want to be turned on.
That's the thing. Like, you would smell everyone turned on.
Yeah. Disturbing, right?
But you could also use it to your advantage.
I would be a little scared to walk outside.
I guess it'd be like an odor. It'd be like, oh, that's, that person's BO. You're not gonna like go up to them like, oh, hey, you smell stinky.
You just walk away.
Yeah, you just politely have a conversation with them and then move on, and then you talk to your significant other like, that person smelled like butthole.
Except that's not. I don't know.
But
what
now
it
it'd be
smells
like, that person over there I just talked to, they're turned on by somebody in this room.
And then you can make it a game. Who do we think it is? Let's scope it out. That could be kind of fun, but still not hot to me.
I don't think it's hot. I think it's weird.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sacrificing your own happiness for the person you love to be happy.
No.
I know.
Absolutely not.
I know.
It's not hot at all. It's really sad.
It's so sad.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of harm that will come from that.
I agree.
Because if you are not willing to, come to some sort of agreement or balance, like, you're going to be miserable. Well, and just to make sure the other person is happy.
I know.
So you're unhappy, but they're happy and it's okay now?
Well, the context that this was taken from was Reese not telling Farah that they're mates and letting her go through with her marriage to Tamlin if that's what she wanted. So it's a little different, but still very sad.
So even if they did get married, I still think Reese would have said something.
Eventually it would have come out.
100%.
Which would have been really messy.
It would have been so messy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he respected her decisions, So.
Okay, I have 5 more.
Let's go.
Calling your significant other prick as a loving nickname.
Absolutely not.
I agree. Okay. Drinking blood.
Nope.
Good. Glad we're on the same page there. Telling someone you are their mate. Telling someone they are your mate the moment you meet them.
I kind of did that with you, and now we've been married for 7 years.
You waited 3 months.
It's a lot earlier than that.
I don't remember.
It's okay.
Tell me later.
I think for the majority of people, not so hot. It's like incredibly overwhelming.
Well, especially in this situation, Elaine just went through some intense trauma.
Insanely traumatic. Yeah. Like, you literally thought you were going to die. Now you're not. Now you're Faye. And the first thing someone says is, hey, you're my mate.
And the way you're looking at me is so creepy right now. All right. Being able to make your clothes disappear in an instant.
So hot.
I knew you were going to say that.
Oh,
I was like,
so
if any on here,
amazing.
that's going to be the one.
Fun fact for our listeners. I love being naked. I think we came into this world naked for a reason.
I can't believe how much you're sharing with the world.
A reason, and so many benefits to it. So our listeners, I'm not being sponsored by the general
Nudity?
public. There are so many benefits to sleep naked. You're welcome.
Look them up.
Google.
Or just, TikTok.
You can go to a library. You can read anything about. Yep.
It's everywhere.
There's a lot of benefits. Your spouse will thank me later. Or significant other, if you're not married.
Thanks for clarifying to open it up to the masses. Okay. Last one.
Let's do it.
Locking someone you love in the house because you think you are protecting them.
I don't think it's hot, but if I thought you were in danger, I would absolutely lock you in the house. If let's just say
there'd have to be a war right outside the windows.
Let's say we're in that universe, okay, and the serial comes to me and is like, hey, Morgan leaves the house, she's gonna die.
Okay, that's
boom,
so
I'm
different.
locking you in the house, period. And you'd be like, Michael, tell me why. I'd be like, I can't tell you why. You have to trust me. I'm locking you. Like, you cannot leave the house.
So
and
here's
then
the
later
situation.
I would let you know.
Tamlin, Farah, is literally withering away. She's super depressed. and he won't let her leave the grounds of their estate. And he's going on like a hunt or something, or I don't know what he's doing. I can't remember. And she's like, please let me come with you. Please, please, please. And then he doesn't even tell her. He just puts magic around so that she can't even leave the house.
Yeah, no. That is super messed up. I would never do that to you.
Yeah, thank you. Just making sure.
No, absolutely not. If I saw you withering away, I mean, we've talked about this, right? I think it shows. I mean, this is controversial. I'm really rooting for Tamlin. I really hope he has some sort of redemptive arc.
I know. There's
because
just some
he
stuff
has
that
trauma
he says.
written all over him.
Oh, but that's the thing. Everyone in this book does.
Yeah, and how he's interacted with Farah and everybody, and his story. There's just so many things, and it's not one of those, oh, like it's going to excuse all of his bad behavior.
Just like Nesta.
Yeah, awful.
Mm-hmm.
But if Nesta can be redeemed, Tamlin can be redeemed.
Tamlin's worse to me because he physically abused
Maybe
Farah.
Not fully. Well, I think it was more of a. He didn't physically. Wasn't it? He like used his power. It was an accident, wasn't it? You said in the book, or did he intentionally harm her?
I think. Well,
because you said that Farah pushed him to use his power
that one time, but he had done it other times where he'd like destroyed stuff and it hurt her. So I think like an example, obviously it's kind of weird because he has powers, but what if I was really mad and I like threw a bowl at the wall right next to your head and glass broke? I guess it's not like your traditional physical abuse, but it is very dangerous behavior.
Absolutely. And I think that it's not going to, forgive and forget all of his bad decisions and awful behaviors. But getting context will be helpful. Understanding his story.
You kind of get a little bit of background on him.
Yeah.
But
because I think
I agree.
In extreme circumstances, I'm thinking like in our own world, like just evil people have done terrible, like crazy things, serial killers or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then when you hear about their story, you're like, man, that's really sad. Mm-hmm. Like, no wonder they turned out the way they did. It doesn't excuse what they did, but understanding how they became to be, it adds. It's just like extra knowledge.
You just see
really
somebody
helpful.
In a more human way.
Yeah. So I hope he gets some sort of. I guess the word I'm looking for is closure. I think I really hope Tamlin gets closure.
I like that.
So because he's not a good guy, but I think he deserves some.
It doesn't mean
background.
He can't be a good guy eventually.
No. Yeah.
Well, on that note, our toddler's awake, so we should go take care of that.
Yes, we should. Absolutely.
But thanks for chatting with me and for taking care. We gotta take care of the kid. Thanks for chatting with me and just being on our podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, so stay tuned for another fun episode next week with a different guest. Bye.
Bye.